So lately, the word resilient keeps coming up in conversation, and it's apparently a word that people often use to describe me, even though I don't really feel resilient a lot of the time. But today, I want to talk about what it means to be resilient and what that actually looks like, how you can build it, and why it matters when it comes to your business. So let's get into it. Resiliency is something that I think people believe is something that you're just born with, which is not the case. I promise you that. It's something that you build over time. So, what does it mean to be resilient? It means that you're able to bounce back quickly from difficult things and stress and changes. And it's a sign of strength and flexibility and your ability to adapt and recover and not just completely fall apart when things don't go the way that they're supposed to or the way that you had planned. And it's not just enduring the pain of the hardships, but actually thriving after the adversity. And it's the ability to cope and to manage difficult emotions while you're maintaining your mental well-being, right? To be clear, it's not just avoiding negative feelings, but it's managing them. And it's all about emotional regulation combined with problem solving. So why is resiliency so important? It's going to make or break the success of anything that you do. It's the difference between bouncing right back and continuing on working towards whatever result you're looking for and letting things trip you up and break you down and you get stuck. And when you get stuck, you lose your momentum and it's harder to get started again. I don't know about you, but if I completely stop something and have to restart, it's a whole process and it takes forever for me to get back on track again. I wasn't always this way though. I built this and I grew this muscle, and it takes a lot of difficult times and hardships and challenges to build this muscle. So they say that there are the seven C's of resilience, and they're the seven core components that build resilience and your ability to bounce back. And by strengthening each of these core areas, you will inevitably be able to become more resilient. They are competence, confidence, connection, coping, control, character, and contribution. I know it's a lot to remember, so I don't expect you to memorize that. But if you're looking to build your resilience, these are the things that you're going to work on growing to become overall more resilient. So competence, first of all, is knowing how to handle a situation. You've been through something similar, you've problem solved it, you figured out a solution for it. Confidence, you believe that you can handle it. You've been here before, you've gotten through it, everything worked out okay. Connection, you have a strong support system. And this doesn't have to be family. This can be friends, this can be coworkers, colleagues. If you're a student, it could be like an online community of people. It's just a core group of people that you can lean on for support and security and reassurance. Coping. Coping is developing healthy strategies for managing stress and challenges and not reacting inappropriately, and you're not avoiding either. Control is understanding that you can control your actions and that the actions that you choose will make a difference in the outcome. Your focus is on the things that you can actually influence. Character. You have strong morals and values and empathy and a sense of what's right and wrong. And this gives you an internal compass for making good decisions, even when you're under pressure. Contribution is the desire to make a positive impact on the world and an understanding that the actions that you take have some kind of purpose or meaning to them. How have I learned to be resilient? First of all, I've got a lot of data to back it up. I'm just this type of person that jumps first, asks questions later, which gives me a lot of solid feedback on things. The more you do, the more results you're going to get, good or bad. I have a ton of life experience and I just do things. I don't wait for permission for it. I don't wait for the right time. I just go. And that means that I've fucked up a lot of things in my life, but I'm still here and I didn't die and everything worked out. And, I was 20 years old and homeless, living on a beach in San Diego. And it was probably one of the lowest points of my life. But guess what? It worked out. And I'm fine. And I've been able to just store that as proof that, it's all going to work out. I spent every last dime I had building my tattoo shop and opening my business 1 month before COVID shut me down for 3 months with no income, maxed out on credit cards, no hope in sight, and I'm still here and I figured it out. And I have more proof than I will ever need in my entire life that says I'm a person that figures shit out and that I'm going to figure this out regardless of what's going on, anything that's thrown at me. I can confidently say, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to get through it because I have done that so many times before in so many different situations. I'm not suggesting that you give away all of your things and move across the country with $100 to your name to go live with a complete fucking stranger that you met on the internet by any means. But what I am saying is if you want to be more resilient, you have to experience life and you have to take some risks and you have to do some things without knowing exactly how it's going to turn out. And you have to get out of your comfort zone. This is how you grow in competency and confidence. Another way that I've learned to be more resilient is by understanding how I am as a person, which is hard. It's really hard to be like introspective and self-aware. But the older I get, the more I do so. So I'm admitting to myself that I'm the type of person that likes to be in control of things. And if you hang around me for any length of time, you'll likely hear me say at some point, why am I not in charge of this? It's something that I frequently say as a joke, but also I'm not even kidding. I'm always like, I could do this better. Like, why don't they put me in charge? But why am I like this? Why do I want to control everything? Well, actually, I've spent a lot of time researching this and reading about this, unfortunately, because I had a therapist tell me at some point that I'm like this, and I didn't like that. So, of course, I had to learn all about it so that I could control it. They say that it typically stems from childhood or some past experiences where you felt unsafe or your environment was unpredictable or you felt helpless or vulnerable. And so as this defense mechanism, you overmanage your external environment and in order to try and feel some semblance of safety and predictability and to prevent mistakes or whatever it is to make yourself more comfortable and just feel more secure, which, yeah, all of that probably checked out. Thanks, internet. So now that I know that this is how I naturally want to operate things, I have to come to the understanding that there are going to be things in my life and in my business that I can't control. And I have to make an agreement with myself that that's okay. And no lie, this takes a lot of work and it's not the easiest thing to do, but I had to let go of control and understand that getting mad and getting frustrated doesn't change what happened and trying harder doesn't make the thing changeable. And I can't make it go away by quitting or pouting about it. And the only way to get through anything difficult is by accepting all of those things. And by accepting that shit happens that's out of my control and I can't do anything about that. And then the only place to go from there is just learning how to cope with that and cope with the emotions of whatever it is I'm going through and cope with the emotions of not being able to control it because those emotions are real too. So back in September when I fell, well, let me catch you up if you're new here. September 7th in the middle of the night, I passed out, fell down the stairs. I fractured my skull. I had a seizure. I dislocated the bones in my ear, lost hearing in my left ear. I got a concussion. I missed a whole month of work. When this happened, I did not know how anything was going to turn out. I didn't have any evidence to tell me that it was going to be okay. I still don't know if I'm going to get my hearing back or if I'll eventually not get super tired after doing like minimal effort of physical activity. I still have days where I get really upset and cry about both of those things. And coping through the emotions of it isn't a thing that you just check off your list once and you're done. It's a thing that, sometimes it means that we're going to deal with it now, but we're also going to deal with it in 3 months, in 6 months, and maybe even a year from now. And we're going to have to manage the emotions of it again and again, and that's okay. And I've accepted that I can't do anything about any of this. It doesn't mean that I don't have feelings about it. It doesn't mean that I'm not a human being and that I'm not going to feel sad about something that I fully understand. But I'm also coping with those feelings and managing them. And I'm not sitting around feeling sorry for myself and not letting it stop me from living my life and doing everything that I want to do and experiencing everything that I want to experience and finding a way around these hard parts. So, what does it mean to be someone who is resilient? For me, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think of myself as resilient necessarily. It's not a word that I use to describe myself because I'm in it and I still feel like I struggle and I'm always course correcting. But I guess that's the point. I think that it's just like nonstop work in progress. It's not like you're ever done and you're like, that's it. I'm tough. I'm resilient. Nothing's ever going to bother me again. That being said, I think it means that you take the feedback and you keep moving. You learn the lesson, you take the information for later, and you don't dwell on it and you don't take it personal. It's just a thing that happened, and it doesn't mean you stop. And it means that you reflect. It means that you reassess and you redirect your efforts or do something to change course to make it better next time. My advice on how to be more resilient, the biggest thing is to detach from your ego. That's the biggest thing that holds people back, I think, when it comes to taking a hard hit or something not working out the way you want it to, is like your ego gets injured first, right? Have you ever heard the saying, depression can't hit a moving target? I like to think that it's failure that can't hit a moving target. Failure is final. So if you never stop, it never ends. If you never give up, there's no chance of failure because failure means the end. That's it. You're done. So if you keep moving forward and you keep going on to the next thing, even if it's something tripped you up or something didn't go according to plan or something, bad happens, if you don't let that stop you, it doesn't mean failure. It can't mean failure if you're still going. It just means that you learned a lesson. It means that you got some feedback from life or from the business or whatever. You take that information and you take a day or two, but you keep moving. And, the alternative to that is that you take 3 months, 6 months, or a year, just completely fucking stall out. You get emotional, you let it hurt your ego, you lick your wounds, and maybe you make the same mistake several more times. And now you've wasted an entire year, but now you're not only upset about the bad thing that happened, but you're also upset over the whole year that took you to process it and learn the lesson and come to some kind of understanding about it. So in order to come to this realization about it, you have to quiet everything and just listen. Listen to yourself, listen to the facts, sit with it and think on it and kind of interrogate it, right? So I'm asking as many questions as I can until I get the answers that I need. So one of the things that I try to ask myself is, how can I turn this into a win? So after my accident, I was stuck at home for a month and I couldn't draw. I couldn't work on a computer. I couldn't look at my iPad. The only thing that I could do is think. I spent that time giving myself the time and the space that I honestly desperately needed to think about what I wanted, where I wanted to be, and what I needed help with. Most of all, like that was probably the most important part of the entire thing, was like, how can I ask for help? Where do I need help? Because that was something that I was doing very badly and needed to reassess. But no exaggeration, taking that time off was the best thing that could have ever happened. I was able to completely realign myself, redirect myself, and stop doing shit that didn't fucking matter and focus on the things that did matter. Another thing that I ask myself is, how can I look at this experience as practice for next time? Because if you're not looking at it like this is the end goal, it's sink or swim, pass or fail, and you're looking at it as practice or experience, it's a lot easier to take that like negative result and turn it into a positive and take that negative result as, this is just, we tried it this way, it didn't work, or, this happened and then here's the result, and just take that as information to use later rather than, success or failure. Once you put in the work of understanding and accepting your situation and your emotions around it, now it's time to make a choice. You have to acknowledge your emotions and your ego and what they want you to do, and then choose to ignore them and choose to make your decision based on what's going to get the best results possible and determine what steps you're going to take next to turn this thing around again. And then go do that. Don't wait. Just go and do.